Well, yeah, the old saying. I guess maybe I feel like streaming a little. That's the old saying from back in the Old West, where old sayings originated. A time of broncos and six-shooters. A time of deadwood and woodfalls. A time of Chinese railroad employees and gold dust. Those were the good old days. The days of the Old West. The days of yore. The days that harken back to simpler times.
Hey, right guy.
I heard kind of a funny joke the other day that made me pause now. When the joke was,
Hey,
you just
Mrs.
used the
Mom.
word hearken 3 times and you didn't use it correctly once. And I wonder if I used the word hearken incorrectly there. I might have. I have to do a little research on this one. Yes, the little's name is While. For a little while. Because I've come to believe that it's a little wild to stream for a little while. What do you know about that? Well, so things are in the works today, just I'm rested, large breasted,
Yes, the
and thoroughly tested.
bags are flat.
My bags are flat. You can always tell if I'm rested by this. You look at this. Right here. That's about as flat as it gets. It's not perfectly flat, but it's about as flat as it gets.
No, honestly, it's pretty flat.
And it's pretty flat.
Yeah.
I'm looking rested,
Yeah.
full-breasted, and thoroughly tested. There, now you'll be able to see better. You'll be able to see just how lively and awake I look. Why, take a look at that wakeful man, you'll say. He looks as alive and awake as a living and awake thing. Now, regarding this issue of life and wakefulness, you might call right now is a state of pre-life or pre-wakefulness. You might call nature's dawn. It's a time before a time that is to come. A time of wine and a time of rum. You can't spell deadwood without the ED. Good point. Lemon and melon makes a good point. A rye guy. Yo, 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 rye guy. Are you the guy who always says rye, rye, rye? Anthony Reed, Hypnosis and Affirmations. Hey there. Hey there to you as well. How are you doing? Are you ready to hypnotize and affirm me? I have a question, host Eric. I'm having a hard time deciding between 6 green, 7 INFJ, and an ENTP. Can I ask how a TE blind spot show up? How would a TE blind spot show up in someone versus FI blind spot? Um, well, one answer to that question is when you're trying to figure out how to do something, how much time do you spend trying to figure it out by yourself before you start Googling it? You could be spend way too much time.
Also, you should probably just get a typing session with ssuartscire to find out.
It's fine. It's a fine enough question. I don't care that much. It's not like it's my favorite activity in the world. I don't hate it. I don't dislike doing. Imagine ordering a pizza host, Eric. If a TE blind spot tried to order pizza versus the FI blind spot, who won't admit they want anchovies on the pizza? I mean, that's more of a front stack thing. FE Tool is more likely to not admit that than
I was gonna
than
say
FE
that.
third.
I wouldn't admit,
Whereas I would probably admit it, but then just say I understand nobody else wants it, so don't worry about it. It's probably what I would do. But regardless, that'd be a front stack thing. I would, at least in terms of its explanation, it seems like it'd be better explained as a front stack thing.
I've actually had anchovies on pizza because like I felt like I had to try it, and it was not enjoyable. I did not enjoy the pizza or the anchovies. It was a mistake.
They're like little slimy, fishy, oily pieces of crap. Yeah, try some on your pizza.
Yeah, and it ruined my pizza.
That's your mom's vagina right there, right? Well, my answer is a good answer to your question, Silent. Hey. That's a good punch to the head there. That's a good question I'm asking you though. Is like, figure out, are you more like, yeah, how long have I spent working on this goddamn thing? Trying to figure it out myself when I should have just Googled, yeah, the whole time. Or are you more like Googling something other people would think are just dumb to Google? That's the difference. When you're wondering if somebody personal is relating to you personally in an acceptable fashion, do you Google things like their astrology sign and shit? I'm taking too NI approach to an SI matter, right? If on the other hand, you're saying, well, in the past, X has meant Y, and Y has meant Z, so X must mean Z this time, even though it's not related in a totally different context. Maybe you're being too SI about it. One thing that 4.5 seems to be able to do well is balance the two kinds of functions that are the same there well. So for ESTP, ESFP, ENFP, ENTP, we all, for our own selves, balance the knowledge functions well. They're more balanced anyway than other kind of pumpkins are. What about your words excited versus enthused? Well, excited is anticipatory. And enthused is mid-process. So, one's excited about something about to happen, whereas one's enthused about an ongoing process. That's what I would have to say about that. As far as cognitive functions, well, I mean,
So like,
enthused is more TE, more process, more interfacey, TEFE. I'm sorry, it's more TINI. I mean TIFI.
so like, Henry Ford was excited to have the idea of making a car, but he was enthusiastic about
Stockholders grew increasingly enthused as his ideas proved themselves one after another.
Can you repeat that?
Stockholders grew increasingly enthused as his ideas proved themselves one after another. Well,
And INTJ will invest in a pipe.
no, increasingly enthused, not excitedly enthused.
And an INTJ will an INTJ will invest in a very nice pipe, and he will invest in some sort of maybe not record player, but maybe a record player, because they like to go anti-popular.
The older INTJ will be less overwhelmed by new technology.
Yeah.
What type do I think Amber Heard and Johnny Depp are? Amber Heard's probably an ESFP. Maybe an ENFP, I'm not sure. I haven't seen much of her. Johnny Depp seems like a TI user. Some kind.
TI user?
He seems TIFE, I guess you'd say. You think he's FI top? Okay. Well, I haven't.
A lot of people think he's FI.
The thing is, I haven't really watched enough of them to know. I'll be honest. I just barely glimpsed at a few minutes of stuff about them, and that's all I've seen of them. So, I'm not really a good person to ask. I don't have enough knowledge of them.
ESTP? See, she,
She's a country without a re. Which she is. I know Dave of all people. It's because I'm peeing right now. If you were to see me, well, then I'd violate some sort of terms of service, probably. Whatever her it is,
I don't know.
it doesn't matter. She's not representative of her type. She's representative of a country without a re.
He does seem to have a lot of FI. He does. Because I don't think he's able to separate himself from his characters. Like, I don't think he's... Like, when he's playing a character in a role, I do believe that he what is that?
Method
He does
acting?
the method. Yeah, I do.
That's what I was going to ask. You think he's a method actor?
Mhm. Yeah, I do. He might be an INFP.
You know who I don't like?
Who don't you like?
Joaquin Phoenix.
He's a method actor.
Can I get a what here? Who here
What
also
what?
doesn't like Joaquin
I
Phoenix?
don't. I really don't. I think he ruined the Joker.
Let's see what other people think. Me neither, says Lemon Melon. Thank you, Lemon Melon. That Joaquin Phoenix, he makes me shake my head and go like this. That's what he makes me do.
Like,
And it's not like, for example, there's that lady, Kirsten Dunst. I do think she's a bad actress, but I don't dislike her.
interesting.
But I don't like Joaquin Phoenix.
I think she's a bad actor, and I don't like her. Like, there's some sort of haughtiness to her. Like, I feel like she would be in a restaurant, and if you don't recognize her, she'll be pissed at you.
I wonder if that's true.
Just because she's been in a couple of
He is annoying because he can't get to the point. He is speaking too much with FI, kind of passionately, can't get to the point, really becomes annoying really quick. Comes off as arrogant.
Where the heck is my ring?
Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily a bad actor, per se. I don't really have a strong opinion about that, but I just don't like him. That's just all there is to it.
You know what's kind of sad is that I'm gonna say it. I think if River Phoenix was alive, that a lot of people would like River Phoenix way more than Joaquin.
Well, River Phoenix was the talent of the family, right?
Yeah. Is Joaquin INFP? He's so strange. He's so strange. That whole movie that he did with Casey Affleck, that was supposed to be real but was end up being fake, about him being a weirdo with a beard and just acting strange in life, and that was supposed to be the real him, but then ended up him saying that it was just all an act. That's so weird.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So he grew a beard and he went around with sunglasses and was anti-Hollywood for movie. And he said it was supposed to be a documentary. It was supposed to be the real life of Joaquin Phoenix. But then years later, he's no, it was all just a movie. So what the heck? Why tell people that that's supposed to be the real you when it was all an act?
First of all, Joaquin is very similar to the name of a street near my house called Joaquin. So, for a long time I thought his name was Joaquin Phoenix. I may still sometimes call him Joaquin Phoenix. But, so he's got one strike against him because his name should be Joaquin, not Joaquin.
Okay.
That's one strike right off the bat. Strike two.
Does anyone, Winston's mom, can you pull up the name of the... So yeah, he worked with Casey Affleck. Like, it was so fucking weird.
Strike two. I met Joaquin Phoenix one time. When he was picking up a chick that lived with a chick I knew in college at the time. And he was kind of like not interested in engaging at all, you know. And
Not cool.
not particularly cool. And then strike three, he's got FI oozing out the wazoo.
Does have it. Seems like
He's as
maybe
moist
he
as
is
a
an
muffin
INFP.
bottom fresh out the muffin tray. I think it's fair to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joaquin
He's
Phoenix
FI.
is as moist as a muffin bottom fresh out the muffin tray.
Like one of the
An undercooked muffin bottom.
one of the complaints that people had about Amber Heard is that she can't, or that like her acting coach said that she can't cry. Like she doesn't know how to cry on cue.
I believe you.
Joaquin Phoenix though, like you know he's like able to cry on cue. Like he's just waiting to cry.
Here I am crying on cue. Feeling so sad. Boo.
Are you guys convinced?
I can't cry on cue either, apparently. But I can squint on cue.
Thank you, Winston's mom. I'm still here. Yes, and it was like almost. It's a good title because it was like almost like a
It was almost
look
tomorrow's
at me,
yesterday.
look at me. Yeah, like I'm still here. Look at me.
Oh, the sadness and sorrow, and the tears keep streaming from my eyes as I cry.
If that's how if bipolar cries, they have to draw it with their fingers.
And the tears go streaming down my face. Boo-hoo. $70 degrees? That's too cold for inside the house. You can't set the air conditioning at 70 degrees, you'll freeze to death. 77 is a nice comfortable temperature. Gross FI.
She is FI. Gwen Stefani's FI.
Sup, Gen XL?
Hey, Gen XL, I'm so glad you're here.
What is the worst polar to have?
I don't think there is one.
Everybody's got their price to pay in life.
It's true.
Everybody's got their price to pay. Everybody's got a thing to say. Everybody's got their way with ways about the way that everybody says, hey, hey.
Can we tell the story of how your dad?
My dad thinks somebody poisoned him?
Yeah.
Tried to poison him? So,
Speaking of polar.
so my dad was eating dinner outside last night. We had some dinner with him, and then we came out here to watch the Rangers game. And I guess when my dad was cleaning up his dinner and stuff, he left his wine glass out there. And one time he came back out, and there's crystals in his wine glass. He says some little crystals. Um. Um, so, anyway. He tasted one of the little crystals and he said he felt like a punch to the chest. And I don't know what that means exactly. It's like, I was like, well, what does it taste like? He said, a punch to the chest, but it's like, that's not a taste. So, I don't know. He thinks Alex, that's this guy who lives next door, the son over there, he was like 26 years old or whatever, tried to poison him or something. It doesn't make any sense at all, but I have no explanation for these things he found in this glass, and he didn't save them or so I could look at them or anything, so I don't know what to say about it. It's just like, oh, anti-polar. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to see him. But, Rachel and I were in here watching the Rangers game the whole time, so I don't know what happened.
It's just like, it humors me to think that the kid from next door who we hear so much of what goes on next door, it makes me skeptical to think that it is him, because I feel like we would hear someone coming over, because
I mean, look, it's not impossible to conceive of him hopping over that little fence there where the lemon tree is, walking up to the deck, putting something in my dad's drink and going back and walking back hopping back over that fence. It's not inconceivable. It's just, why in the world?
That little fence over there. Yeah, but
and he never took his car for a joyride either. He because it's it's just all anti-polar nonsense. I don't know what else to say about it,
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm waiting for my prescription to get refilled, and I guess I'm feeling kind of restless. I really want to get this room reorganized now. I'm feeling like it's time, Anyway, I chatted with my dad over quite some time this morning. I have no answers for him really exactly. It's like I don't know what happened. I don't know what. Yeah. That reminds me, I need to go get another bottle of propane for my torch. Anyhow, together we can kill a few minutes here. Hi Aga, hi INFJ Forever. Because this will probably be our last chance to touch base before I dismantle everything. What the hell? How am I supposed to interpret this? What?
I'm confused.
I'm confused too. Should I just put...
So wait, can he hook us up or no?
No, he can't. Okay, let me mute this for a second. No, I had to mute some shit because it was just too, it was too much for YouTube, frankly. So, oh, I see. Oh.
Oh. That's good to know, because we got good weed from him.
Okay, good to know. Just see. Okay, cool. Now I understand.
And now it makes sense why we had weed and
Yeah.
yeah.
Now it makes sense. Okay. Alright, well that's good. I'm glad to have that cleared up.
Me too.
Did I make myself coffee? But I drank it all already? Why, I sure do drink a lot of coffee, don't I? I'm like some kind of professional coffee drinker.
Oh no, why did you have a rough day, Dark Sunshine? What happened?
I'm sorry to hear the bad news. What's the source of your sorrow? From whence does it flow? Where from doth it strew? Do share with us all the sort of details. Those BITCHESs. You spent all that time making it and you didn't even have a chance to present it? That's gotta be frustrating. You must be shaking your fist in this fashion.
Oh, that,
Ooh.
especially in INFJ, like the internal stress that you probably were feeling like during doing this project.
You denied the SE payoff.
Yeah.
Probably didn't even want to do the project. What INFJ wants to get up in front of people and do a presentation? None. It's like super anxiety. Like, Frank James talks about it all the time.
Well, I get paid by the hour, so I really don't give a crap.
But you do give a crap, though. You do. And we give a crap on your behalf as well. So that's 2 full craps you get in here. You're getting 2 full craps. And you deserve at least 2 full craps.
Yeah, you do. Because that's bullshit. Honestly.
It's like you put all your time into this project and then they cut you off. It seems like they don't care.
They obviously don't. Otherwise, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Eric, you're making a mess. What are you talking about? Did Eric's video get removed? Not as far as I know. Why would they get removed? After all, they're all glorious and wonderful. They're not the sort of thing anyone wants to remove. They're the sorts of things people make statues to. Oh, wonderful, wonderful videos, people say. Gosh, your videos are so wonderful. If only there could be even more of them. These are the sort of things that people are constantly saying about my videos. That's why there are 7 whole people here. Well, I've not experienced debates at 3,000. I have not. Well, I rock the boat pretty carefully. It depends on how you rock it. If you know how to rock and roll it just right, you okay. Bye. I may have been sort of shadow suppressed by YouTube on some occasions in the past. I don't know. It's possible. But I think the reality is simply that I'm just not that appealing to that many people. You know, and that's a more sensible explanation than any other I can come up with, right? It makes the most sense. It asks the least jump or leap of logic or faith, or asks the least in terms of assumptions. It's the most sensible explanation. Well, Dark Sunshine, you just got to factor some animal life into your SI. Yes, it can be disruptive, but it can also be very gratifying. Last night I came out here and slept with Trouble for a couple of hours, and he was such a cuddly woods. It was as though he had cuddle buds in his buttle smuds. That's how cuddly he was. He was pushed right up against me, purring his ass off the whole time. He was so happy to be sleeping, all pushed up against me. It was nice. I felt like kitty man communion was upon me. The great softness, you might call it. The great softness of kitty man communion. When one is bestowed the great softness of kitty man communion, one really feels the meows in life. One feels every bit of every meow. You go, wow, this is such a meowy experience. I'm really digging it. Right? You guys know. You guys know the truth of the man-kitty communion. If you've had it before, if you've been there and truly loved a kitty, you know.
Yeah,
That's some meowy softness right there.
it is.
Anyhow, nobody wants to remove my videos. My videos are not that controversial. I'm not actually, in any meaningful sense, bucking any acceptability norms that should be sustained. So, to the extent that I'm bucking any norms, those norms themselves are in dispute and very much in question. I'd say start with her butthole. First type her butthole. Or what type her butthole is. And then go on from there. So you've got the butthole of an ESFP. Start with that. And when she asks you to explain what you mean, then you segue into your typological analysis of it. I think it's a good strategy. Oh, you want real advice? Oh, Aga. I don't think I have any real advice for you. You could say, hey there, want to talk about typology? I don't know. What do I look like? Some kind of FE tool user? Some kind of FE Dom? Some kind of glad handy how you do's? My name's not glad handy how you do's. Well, look. If you think my name is glad handy how you do's, you've got my name wrong, Missy. I'll tell you that right now. That's not my name. Although I wish it were. It's not. Glad Handy How You Do's is a great name for somebody. It's like I was so awake and alert earlier, and now I feel all tired and nappy. That's the difference between earlier and now is one box of nitrous. I feel all like, but we got an errand to run before that. Then maybe we can come back and take a nap.
What's the errand that we have to run before that?
Oh, it's our special errand. Our special errand? You know, the special one? To get the special ones? You know. It's the one we've been chit-chatting about here.
Oh, the Adderall.
No.
Oh, the mushrooms.
Yeah, the other thing.
The other thing.
They're only two things, girl.
I forgot.
They're only two things to remember.
I didn't remember the one thing.
Yeah, you sure didn't. Oh, Dark Sunshine. I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
Hey, Oliver. We were talking about how you are our steeple ISFJ in the community.
Here's some FE for you, Betty Tips 3000. Hey, good to see ya. Pet, pet, pet. Like that.
Hug, hug, hug.
People love being pet. Because it makes them feel like animals. And everybody loves feeling like an animal. Let's feel animals. Animals. Come on and feel animals. Let's feel some animals. Now I'm feeling animals. If you've ever felt animals, you'll know that typically animals are softer than people.
Really?
It's true.
You're pretty soft.
I'm not hard. But my right arm here has been undergoing psychic attack from my left hand.
Oh no!
Yeah. During the night I've been scratching it there. Now I've got some marks.
It is psychic attacks. I wonder who it is.
My left hand. It's always had it out from my right elbow. Well, it takes advantage of the fact that I'm asleep to just go in there and grab it. She's hooked already, huh? Well, you should get her a typing session with me. That's what you should do. Then she'll really be hooked. She'll be like, oh, that host Eric did such a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, she will. And I'll be like, yeah, I did. And everyone will be like, yeah, you did, Eric. What do you think about that? You know, when she says that, let's get physical, she means let's make sexual intercourse at one another. That's what she means. She's using a euphemism. She's hiding her true meaning beneath squirrely euphemistic language. Are you all as offended as I am by her behavior? I hope so. I hope so. Just remember, if you're having a bad day, just be glad you're not having dark sunshine's day. That's even worse than your day.
Could have had a presentation that was interrupted. Oh, that's so terrible.
That doesn't mean she likes everything smart Tallmen do. Well, yeah, it'd be fun typing your friend. Well, Rachel will be here the whole time. It's fine. I like to get Rachel involved in the typing as much as I can. I feel a lot more comfortable after I've chatted with Rachel, even if she's only talked to the person for a little while. It's weird.
It's nice to be involved and see who's, you know, on the other side of the screen. Because I don't get to hear usually what's going on because there's headphones while they're recording.
Yeah, otherwise the sound's all wacky. What special powers do FE-DOMs have? They have the power to call hawks down to their shoulders from the sky. Come to me, mighty hawk, they say. And the hawk comes swooping down and lands right on their shoulder. And it says, what do you want? And the FE-DOM goes, nothing. I just wanted to show off this skill again.
That is a pretty big skill.
The hawk takes a deep sigh and then flies away. That's their special power. Well, first slot FE, they're very good at making everybody like them, you know. Everybody likes FE-DOMs. They're very nice. Like that one FE-DOM who was on Alone. Wasn't he a likable character, that Sam?
Yeah, he was so likable.
So likable.
He was like, yeah, today is the greatest day of the history of the world. Even when he was having a tough time. He was so like genuine in his feelings that it made him very relatable. I think Effie Doms are very relatable. Well, there's this like kind of weirdness to ENFJs. Like the the other guy who won the first time around, the ENFJ, who was against Sam that one time. Like there's this like there's like kind of like a distance.
They're the mystics of a post-mystic age.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, obviously, if you are... The epic isn't really designed for you. There's going to be a ontological discomfiture that goes along with existing in that age. I think the same sort of thing manifests among ESFPs a lot. This kind of ontological discomfiture at being so not mappy in an increasingly mappy world.
So do you think they get like kind of like uncomfortable in their own skin?
No, I think because they don't have usually understanding of cognitive functions at their disposal, they get they have this odd totemic relationship with the things they believe or affirm. So I had Chloe read the Book of the Grotesque out loud the other day. It's definitely worth reading out loud. It's only 2 pages long. I'll read it out loud now. Don't, Eric. Too bad. Get ready for an English class lesson. You're overdue, ladies and gentlemen, for your English class lesson of the day. And today you're getting it. What's going on out there? No, I don't want Sparks Notes. It's 2 pages long, for God's sake. Who would want Sparks Notes on a 2 pages long story? Okay, I will make it so you guys can read along with me. That'll make it more fun for you. Isn't this fun for you now? It's a lot more fun for you. Hooray, we're having so much fun, you say. And I say, haha, yes you are. Yes, you are. Having so much fun. Okay, here we go. The writer, an old man with a white mustache, had some difficulty getting into bed. The windows of the house in which he lived were high, and he wanted to look at the trees when he awoke in the morning. A carpenter came to fix the bed so that it would be on a level with the window. Quite a fuss was made about the matter. The carpenter, who had been a soldier in the Civil War, came into the writer's room and sat down to talk of building a platform for the purpose of raising the bed. The writer had cigars lying about, and the carpenter smoked. For a time, the 2 men talked of the raising of the bed, and then they talked of other things. The soldier got on the subject of the war. The writer, in fact, led him to that subject. The carpenter had once been a prisoner in Andersonville prison, and had lost a brother. The brother had died of starvation, and whenever the carpenter got upon the subject, he cried. He, like the old writer, had a white mustache, and when he cried, he puckered up his lips, and the mustache bobbed up and down. The weeping old man with the cigar in his mouth was ludicrous. The plan the writer had for the raising of his bed was forgotten, and later the carpenter did it in his own way, and the writer, who was past 60, had to help himself with a chair when he went to bed at night. In his bed, the writer rolled over on his side and lay quite still. For years he had been beset with notions concerning his heart. He was a hard smoker, and his heart fluttered. The idea had got into his mind that he would sometime die unexpectedly, and always when he got into bed he thought of that. It did not alarm him. The effect, in fact, was quite a special thing, and not easily explained. It made him more alive there in bed than at any other time. Perfectly still he lay, and his body was old and not much of use anymore, but something inside him was altogether young. He was like a pregnant woman, only that the thing inside him was not a baby but a youth. No, it wasn't a youth, it was a woman, young, and wearing a coat of mail like a knight. It is absurd, you see, to try to tell what was inside the old writer as he lay on his high bed and listened to the fluttering of his heart. The thing to get at is what the writer, or the young thing within the writer, was thinking about. The old writer, like all of the people in the world, had got, during his long life, a great many notions in his head. He had once been quite handsome, and a number of women had been in love with him. And then, of course, he had known people, many people, known them in a peculiarly intimate way that was different from the way in which you and I know people. At least that is what the writer thought, and the thought pleased him. Why quarrel with an old man concerning his thoughts? In the bed, the writer had a dream that was not a dream. As he grew somewhat sleepy, but was still conscious, figures began to appear before his eyes. He imagined the young, indescribable thing within himself was driving a long procession of figures before his eyes. You see, the interest in all this lies in the figures that went before the eyes of the writer. They were all grotesques. All of the men and women the writer had ever known had become grotesques. The grotesques were not all horrible. Some were amusing, some almost beautiful. And one, a woman all drawn out of shape, hurt the old man by her grotesqueness. When she passed, he made a noise like a small dog whimpering. Had you come into the room, you might have supposed that the old man had unpleasant dreams, or perhaps indigestion. For an hour, the procession of grotesques passed before the eyes of the old man, and then, although it was a painful thing to do, he crept out of bed and began to write. Some one of the grotesques had made a deep impression on his mind, and he wanted to describe it. At his desk, the writer worked for an hour. In the end, he wrote a book which he called The Book of the Grotesque. It was never published, but I saw it once, and it made an indelible impression on my mind. The book had one central thought that is very strange, and has always remained with me. By remembering it, I have been able to understand many people and things that I was never able to understand before. The thought was involved, but a simple statement of it would be something like this: that in the beginning, when the world was young, there were a great many thoughts, but no such thing as a truth. Man made the truths himself, and each truth was a composite of a great many vague thoughts. All about in the world were the truths, and they were all beautiful. The old man had listed hundreds of the truths in his book. I will not try to tell you all of them. There was the truth of virginity, and the truth of passion, the truth of wealth, and the truth of poverty, the thrift and of profligacy, of carelessness and of abandon. Hundreds and hundreds were the truths, and they were all beautiful. And then the people came along. Each, as he appeared, snatched up one of the truths, and some who were quite strong snatched up a dozen of them. It was the truths that made the people grotesques. The old man had quite an elaborate theory concerning the matter. It was his notion that at the moment one of the people took one of the truths to himself, called it his truth, and tried to live his life by it, he became a grotesque, and the truth he embraced became a falsehood. You can see for yourself how the old man, who had spent all of his life writing and was filled with words, would write hundreds of pages concerning this matter. The subject would become so big in his mind that he himself would be in danger of becoming a grotesque. He didn't, I suppose, for the same reason that he never published that book. It was the young thing inside him that saved the old man. Concerning the old carpenter who fixed the bed for the writer, I only mentioned him because he, like many of what are called very common people, became the nearest thing to what is understandable and lovable of all the grotesques in the writer's book. Wonderful, wonderful story. Having wonderful times. That's a wonderful story. And you should have enjoyed it a lot.
I did.
She's an INFJ. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Who's in?
You are.
Oh yes.
You're a lady. You're also what's known as a lady.
I am a lady.
A very special lady.
Thank you. You're a very special man.
Thanks. That's because I went to special man school for 16 years and got my special man certificate.
Wow.
Takes 16 years in special man school to get your special man certificate. Takes more than just luck. In the Thalia Archer, it requires the slabs intervening on your behalf.
Did while you were away for 16 years, were you away?
Yeah, I was isolated on a special island for
Thank you. Natalia Archa.
Okay, sold.
That's nice. Are you what type are you? A Todd did
Sometimes, not always, Winston's mom. Depends on the INTP. Some of them are more likely or more subject to that than others. Like Horseman was subject to that because he's so any tool he can't ever get anything out of his mouth. I've got to urinate.
Well, ENTP, ISFJ, are the dual types, right?
Yeah, according to Socionics. Socionics would tell you that's the right relationship, but I would disagree.
So
If
it's
you're an ESTP, then it's the right relationship.
yeah.
If you think you're an ENTP, it's fairly likely you're an ESTP if you actually are TI tool. But hard to say, that's what I do.
Yes, you would have to be typed because they look the same. They can look the same.
Well, ESTPs are often more likely to identify with an ENTP type description than an ESTP type description.
Yeah, an ESTP might say that they're an ENTP. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that there's any chance of ENTPs thinking they're ESTPs?
I consider it less likely to occur. Simply because there are a lot fewer ENTPs. And
Yeah. Jonathan Basanti, I was saying that I can see an INTJ smoking from a pipe. Like, here's what I envision. A library full of books, maybe some whiskey, and a pipe and sitting in an armchair wanting to give advice. Do you see yourself as that kind of person?
this is just Rachel's nice way of saying she can imagine you smoking pole. Special man school is bullshit? I can't. They fooled me again. These school people keep fooling me with their bullshit, Jonathan Basanti. Why am I so susceptible? Why am I so gullible? What in the world is wrong with Eric?
What in the world is wrong with the people who are trying to get your Adderall?
Oh, they're just taking their sweet time as usual. That's how they do things. They take their sweet time.
Aga, are you excited to have a new INFJ friend? You guys will go on a lot of adventures. Like, one of the things about ENTP INFJ is that they like to go, they really like an ENTP, like an INFJ will go along with the ENTP's ideas. That's so exciting, Aga! You're getting closer to finding your INFJ guy. Jonathan Basanti, maybe like more like telling wise stories and sounding a little bit arrogant. Then this is more like you have your TV show, right? And you're sitting in front of a fireplace and there's books behind you and you're sitting in your armchair and you have your robe on and you have your pipe and the whole show is about INTJ advice.
Alright, we gotta go, Rachel.
Okay.
We gotta go run our errand.
Okay.
I just talked to my dad about the ongoing problem that we're having with the old sprinkler right there.
Oh yeah.
Every morning it like keeps burbling out water after it's supposed to be stopped, you know. And we're like, hey, you're not operating properly, sprinkler head.
Yeah, it's not. It's gonna go into the foundation.
So I had to go outside and say, Dad, make sure that you tell him about this one too, Dad. Make sure you tell him about this one in case you missed it. So
Winston's mom, I believe that Frank James is Aga's soulmate as well.
I don't think so. I think there's a sexier, manlier INFJ out there for Aga than Frank James. His name is Manly Sex-A-Lot. Okay?
Manly sex a lot. Oh.
Yeah. And he's a really manly, sex-a-lot-y INFJ.
Okay.
So we just gotta find him. That's his code name, is Manly Sex-A-Lot. So we just gotta figure out what his real name is now. But for future reference, we'll refer to him simply as Manly Sex-A-Lot.
Manly sex a lot.
August future boyfriend, Manly Sex-A-Lot. Okay. Until we find out his actual name, that's what we'll refer to him as. Okay, so anyway, wishing you all and Manly Sex-A-Lot a good afternoon, because we've got to go run an errand. An important errand that you will never forget. Goodbye, good luck, and good night.